Tonight, Zoran, Marxist, Kami, Mamdani booed off stage in New York City? Wow. Take a look at this.
It is a pleasure.
I guess it turns out not everyone in New York City is a raging communist. In fact, not everyone in the Democratic Party is excited about their new socialist rulers and communist rulers. Take a look at this headline. New York Times, quote, moderate Democrats prepare for war against an ascendant left. The war started in 2019. They might have missed it. The Washington Post even prepping voters for the very real possibility that a blue midterm wave is not coming. And tonight, after a series of big primary wins for dozens of bizarre, radical, socialist, communist candidates, the traditional base of the Democratic Party, they're not too happy either. Take a look.
What's in this corridor? Well, there are a lot of working-class voters and a lot of African-American voters. Abdul El-Sayed did very poorly amongst these groups in the primary. It's going to be very interesting to see whether or not he can bring them into the tent come the general election, bring those swing voters with them, because where Abdul El-Sayed did well, to be honest with you, we're really just college towns. That's where he really ran up the score.
Now, this Democratic internal intramural civil war is very real. Take a look at this.
If El-Sayed wins, I will not vote Democrat. I'll switch over, and I'll vote for a candidate with character, whoever that might be.
When you lose Manchin and you lose Bill Maher, and let's see, you lose Van Jones and you lose Mark Penn and you lose John Fetterman, no other elected Democrat, that's telling you a lot. Now, a top concern for many of these voters is Abdul El-Sayed's good buddy Hasan Piker. Piker previously called for the streets to run red with blood of property owners. He said America deserved 9/11. He praised Hamas and communist China, even dresses up and pretends to be Chairman Mao. And last night, El-Sayed, he won't condemn his good friend or his radical beliefs. Take a look.
You need to renounce people like the left-wing streamer Hasan Piker, who was campaigning with you, who was out there in Michigan on Monday night, I believe last night as well. Do you have any plans to do that?
Look, I'll tell you this. I'm less focused on folks who are campaigning with me, more focused on the folks I'm campaigning to.
Now, another one of Piker's good friends, socialist congressional candidate Chris Rabb, well, he was on this program last night. He has the bluest congressional district in the country, and he tried to talk in circles, pretended not to even know what show he was on, while accidentally revealing his true beliefs. Take a look. Do you want amnesty for illegals and to abolish borders?
What are illegals?
Illegal immigrants, people that didn't respect our laws, borders, and sovereignty, entered the country without permission. Illegally.
I don't accept the premise of that question.
Do you want to abolish ICE?
Absolutely.
Do you want to defund the Department of War?
We need to radically reduce how much money we're spending with the Pentagon. Absolutely.
Would you like to eliminate cash bail and establish a wealth tax?
Absolutely.
Would you like to abolish prisons and abolish the police?
99% of what police do are not going after the bad guys.
Now, yet another DSA congressional candidate from Florida appeared on my radio show today, where, to his credit, he actually answered my question. Seemed like a nice guy, but his beliefs are, well, radical and off the charts. Take a listen.
They want to eliminate the Senate, allow Congress to choose the president and judges. Do you agree with that?
I would like to see the Electoral College abolished.
Do you support eliminating the Senate? Let's start there.
I think that as a long-term reform, we do need to make Congress more reflective of a representative democracy.
Do you want to abolish ICE?
I do.
Do you want to defund the Department of War?
I do think that we need to radically cut our defense spending. The Pentagon has never been able to pass a budget.
Would you eliminate cash bail?
I do think that cash bail is a punitive measure that goes against our Constitution.
Do you think that public ownership of corporations should be taken over by the government?
It depends on what industry.
To each American based on their needs, from each American based on their ability. Do you support that?
I think that's a fine concept.
Do you know who said that first? You don't, do you?
Inform me.
I will inform you. A guy by the name of Karl Marx.
Very enlightening. Now, there are DSA candidates who are deeply misguided, and there are also DSA candidates who want America to be turned upside down and burned. And then there's Francesca Hong, the likely Democratic nominee for the governor in the great state of Wisconsin, has made very bizarre statements about Thanksgiving and white people, and she demanded over and over again that the police be abolished. Now, all of a sudden, she's saying, oh, I didn't really mean it. There's an election coming up. She called for the Senate to be abolished in writing and then claimed that she never, ever said such a thing. Former Obama advisor David Axelrod, he's openly hoping that Hong somehow loses her primary. Her top opponent already dropped out, and now even Bernie Sanders is refusing, in this case, to endorse his fellow radical socialist communist.
All right, thanks for watching. Check out my new podcast, Hanging Out with me, Sean Hannity. The big interviews, the debates you won't get anywhere else. Like and subscribe for new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday.